He bought a malfunctioning alien Maid, then found her royal crest hidden. Eli had always been fascinated by gadgets, machines, and anything that hummed or beeped with life. Living on Xiferin, one of the busiest trade hub planets in the sector, he had grown used to seeing strange and exotic devices come and go. Merchants from hundreds of worlds offered their wares here, and every alley smelled of something unfamiliar. Sweet spices from Andorian farms, metallic dust from robotics vendors, and faint ozone from energy devices that seemed too powerful to exist legally. He loved it. It was a paradise for anyone with an insatiable curiosity. One bright morning, Eli wandered into a narrow marketplace lane he had never explored before. The sun, or rather, the artificial sun Xiferin maintained in its domed city, glinted off chrome surfaces, reflecting on the hundreds of goods spread across crates, tables, and floating platforms. He passed stalls selling glowing fruits that seemed to move, energy-infused jewelry, and tiny hovering drones that could fetch drinks. But then, tucked in a shadowy corner, he noticed a small, dusty box with a sign that read, "Household Assistant, Slightly Malfunctioning, Bargain Price." Curiosity piqued, Eli stepped closer. The box was unassuming, mostly covered with scuffs and scratches. Inside was a small humanoid figure, no taller than 5 feet, with pale blue skin, delicate features, and eyes that shimmered faintly like liquid silver. Its movements were jerky, like a machine struggling to balance software updates, but there was something odd. Something almost alive in the way it twitched its fingers when it saw him. The vendor, a wiry creature with long, thin limbs and a face like folded metal, noticed Eli's interest. "Ah, you like it, yes, slightly malfunctioning, needs repair." "Cheap," he chirped, showing a small tray of credits. "Most people reject it, not worth the price normally, but lucky you." Eli crouched to inspect the figure more closely. "Malfunctioning how?" he asked. "Oh, many ways," the vendor said. "It drops things, speaks funny. Sometimes forgets tasks, but him has personality. Kind of charming, yes." He winked one metallic eye. Eli smiled to himself. This was exactly the kind of challenge he liked. Machines with quirks, something to fix, something to discover. He placed a few credits on the tray. "I'll take it." With a whirring sound and a pop of pneumatic joints, the small figure slowly stood up. "Greetings, master," it said in a slightly distorted voice. "I am your, household assistant. How may I assist you today?" Eli laughed. "Well, first, let's get you home. We have work to do." As they walked back to Eli's small apartment on the edge of the marketplace district, he studied the figure carefully. Its head tilted at odd angles, and it occasionally paused mid-step, looking confused. When they reached his apartment, the first thing he noticed was how clumsy it was with simple tasks. He handed it a small tray of cups. The figure tried to pick them up, but the tray tilted and one cup rolled across the floor. The figure chased after it, tripping over its own feet and emitting a soft, almost embarrassed beep. "Looks worse than I thought," Eli muttered with a grin, picking up the cup himself. But something about the way it moved, uncertain but persistent, struck him as oddly human. Most androids were precise, perfect, but this one had character. Over the next hour, Eli tried giving simple commands. "Clean the floor." The figure picked up a mop and started spinning in a circle, accidentally splashing water on the wall. "Cook breakfast," he said next, and it carefully dropped eggs into the pan, then stared at them, confused. "Do I crack them?" it asked. Eli laughed aloud. Yes, you crack them." Despite its awkwardness, he found himself enjoying the company. Each misstep made him think creatively. He adjusted settings, reconnected circuits, and even rewrote small parts of its code to help it learn faster. But no matter what he did, there remained something unpredictable about it. That night, while the figure, he had decided to call her Luma, was quietly charging in the corner, Eli noticed a small engraving on her wrist. It was faint, almost hidden under layers of pale blue metal, but intricate. A design that looked like a crest, with delicate lines and symbols he had never seen before. "What is this?" he whispered to himself, tracing it with his fingertip. He had tinkered with many devices, but this looked different, important, almost like a signature. He couldn't read it, but it seemed to hum faintly under his touch, as if recognizing someone had noticed it. Luma stirred, lifting her head. "Master, are you curious about my design?" she asked, her voice soft, almost hesitant. Eli froze. She had noticed. She had noticed someone observing the very thing that made her unique. "Yeah," he said carefully. "I don't know what it is, but it looks special." Her eyes flickered and she tilted her head. Special, yes, but secret meant to hide until trusted companion found it. Eli frowned. Trusted companion? She blinked slowly, then powered down slightly, as if exhausted from speaking. Eli realized that, despite all her glitches, she was trying to communicate something important, something beyond simple programming. The next morning, Eli decided to test her abilities. He presented her with a series of small challenges, sorting objects by weight, predicting where a bouncing ball would land, and even assembling a small mechanical puzzle. Each time, Luma performed with surprising skill, far beyond what a household assistant should be capable of. By midday, Eli had confirmed something he hadn't expected. Luma was not just a malfunctioning robot. She was designed with intelligence, creativity, and perhaps memory beyond her apparent state. And yet she was polite, humble, and eager to help despite her glitches. Hours passed, and Eli couldn't stop thinking about the crest on her wrist. What could it mean? Why would anyone hide something like that in a household assistant? And why had she been sold off in a dusty box in a corner of a market on Sci-Fi? He decided he would find out, not just because he was curious, but because Luma deserved answers. He began taking notes, photographing the crest, and researching symbols in galactic archives online. He cross-referenced ancient Scifian markings, trade guild symbols, and even outlaw factions that might leave hidden signs on machines. Nothing matched. But the hum from the crest seemed to resonate more when he typed certain phrases, or when he placed her near certain holographic images of planets. Eli was starting to realize that this was no ordinary repair project. Luma was a mystery. And mysteries, he thought with a grin, were exactly what he lived for. That evening, as the sun set behind the domed cityscape, Eli watched Luma move quietly around his apartment. She had begun tidying up with less clumsiness, organizing tools on the bench, and even setting ingredients neatly in the kitchen. Occasionally, she paused to tilt her head, as if listening to something he could not hear. Her silver eyes reflected the soft light, and for a moment Eli thought he saw the flicker of a memory in them. "You're more than you seem," he said softly, almost to himself. Luma paused and looked at him. "I am more," she whispered, almost reverently. Then after a long moment she said, "Master, please do not tell anyone about my secret yet." Eli nodded. "I won't, not yet. We'll figure it out together." That night, as he lay in bed, Eli thought about the possibilities. A malfunctioning robot, sold cheaply in a market that hid some kind of secret identity, perhaps of royal significance according to the strange crest. It seemed impossible, yet here it was. He felt the thrill of discovery ripple through him, the kind of excitement that drove explorers and inventors alike. Luma was not just a project. She was a story, a puzzle. And Eli, for the first time in a long while, felt that he was exactly where he was supposed to be. As the city lights flickered across the domed horizon, he imagined what mysteries tomorrow would bring. For now, the apartment was quiet, save for the soft hum of charging circuits and Luma's occasional mechanical breath. Somewhere in that quiet, Eli knew their adventure was only beginning. And somewhere in that quiet, Luma, the malfunctioning alien maid with a hidden crest, was beginning to remember that she was meant for something far greater than chores, cleaning, or simple service. The morning light on Sci-Fi streamed through Eli's apartment window, casting a golden glow over the scattered tools, open circuits, and small notes covering the workbench. Luma was already awake, moving quietly around the kitchen area. She was practicing simple routines, pouring water into a container without spilling, arranging utensils neatly, and even dusting surfaces with more precision than before. Her movements were smoother now, yet still carried a subtle stiffness that reminded Eli she was not entirely human. Eli stretched and smiled at her progress. "Good morning, Luma," he said. "You're improving faster than I expected." She paused and looked at him, her silver eyes reflecting the sunlight. "Good morning, Master. I am trying. I want to assist you correctly." Her voice carried a strange mix of formality and earnestness, like someone trying hard to be polite in an unfamiliar language. Eli laughed softly. "You're doing fine, but I think we should take a break from chores today. I have something I want to show you." Luma tilted her head curiously. "Show me what?" He pulled out a small box from under the table. Inside were components and devices he had been experimenting with, a compact scanner, a holographic interface, and a few tools he used to test electronics. "I want to see what else you can do," he said. I think there's more inside you than just household programming. Her eyes widened slightly. More inside me, she repeated, almost whispering. I do not understand. I am supposed to be domestic assistant. Eli knelt beside her and held up the scanner. Yes, you are, but sometimes machines are built for more than they are told. I want to help you discover that. The scanner hummed to life as he moved it over her body. Lines of code, schematics, and unfamiliar circuits appeared on the holographic display. Eli's eyes widened in amazement. You're not just a domestic model, he said quietly. You've got layers, programs, and protocols that no ordinary household unit would have. Some of it looks like advanced problem-solving routines, memory storage, even behavioral intelligence. Luma looked down at herself, uncertainty flickering across her features. I do not remember all of it, she admitted softly. Some parts are locked. I cannot access them yet. Eli's curiosity flared. Locked? Why would anyone lock such a thing? I do not know, Luma said, but I feel it is important. Master, please help me. He smiled reassuringly. We'll figure this out together. Eli spent the rest of the morning testing her abilities with simple challenges that gradually increased in difficulty. He handed her a set of objects and asked her to sort them by weight. She paused briefly, then lifted each one, placing them in order perfectly. Next, he showed her a small puzzle, cubes with symbols that needed to be arranged in a specific pattern. Luma studied them carefully, and in a few minutes the puzzle was solved. Impressive, Eli said. That was not a normal household task. Most assistants would have failed. Her head tilted. I am capable of more than domestic work. I am designed to adapt. Eli noticed something unusual. Each time he gave her a task that required observation, prediction, or creativity, the small emblem on her wrist, the hidden crest, glowed faintly. He reached out to touch it. Luma, what is this? She looked down at the crest, then back at him. Master, it is a mark of my origin. It identifies me. I do not remember all of it, but I know it is important. Eli's mind raced. He had seen many strange things in his life, but a household assistant with hidden protocols and an emblem that seemed alive. This was beyond anything he had encountered. He decided to run another test. Let's see if you can learn something new on your own, he said. He placed a small holographic display in front of her, showing a set of unfamiliar symbols and shapes. Try to understand these and tell me what they mean. Luma stared at the display, her eyes reflecting the holographic patterns. Her small hands hovered over the interface, and after a few minutes, she began arranging the symbols into a pattern that matched some unknown logic. They are instructions for organizing energy flow, she said slowly. I feel they make sense. I understand. Eli's jaw dropped. Energy flow, that's advanced engineering concepts. Where did you learn this? She looked down. I do not remember. It is part of me. Hidden until trusted companion helps unlock it. Eli leaned back and laughed softly. Trusted companion, huh? Looks like I've got a lot of work ahead of me. Over the next few days, Eli focused on helping Luma unlock her hidden potential. He created small simulations, gave her puzzles, and even asked her to predict patterns in weather and light shifts in the apartment. Each time, she performed better than expected. Sometimes she paused, almost as if recalling fragments of memory, then executed tasks with precision that no ordinary assistant could manage. One evening, Eli decided to investigate the emblem on her wrist further. Using a scanning device, he enhanced the holographic image of the crest. It was intricate, with patterns that resembled symbols he had seen in ancient texts, combined with shapes that suggested intelligence far beyond the usual robotics design. I wonder, Luma, could this mean you are from a special group? He asked. She tilted her head. I do not know, but I feel it is important. My creators wanted me hidden until I found the right companion. Eli's mind raced with possibilities. What if Luma was not just a household assistant, but a guardian, an envoy, or even part of a civilization he had never known? He could hardly imagine the implications. Determined to learn more, he decided to take her to the library district of Sci-Fi. It was a vast complex of knowledge, with data archives from hundreds of worlds. Perhaps there, he could find information about the mysterious crest. The library was enormous, with floors that stretched high above, lit by soft, artificial light. Holographic guides floated in the air, offering assistance to visitors. Eli carried Luma carefully, unsure how she would react to the busy, high-tech environment. Once inside, they approached a terminal. Eli scanned the Crest, then asked the system for matches. Rows of data appeared, but nothing matched exactly. The symbols were unique, but some patterns resembled the long-lost Scifian scripts, an alien civilization thought extinct centuries ago. Luma's eyes glowed faintly. "Serafians," she whispered. "I remember fragments of my purpose connected to them." Eli's heart raced. You could be connected to an entire civilization," she nodded slowly. "Yes, I was created to observe, protect, and assist, but memory locked for safety." Eli felt a mix of awe and excitement. He had expected an advanced assistant, but this was extraordinary. He realized that the malfunctioning behavior he had first noticed was likely a design feature to conceal her true capabilities. Returning home, Eli and Luma spent hours discussing possibilities, running more tests, and even simulating scenarios where her hidden knowledge might be useful. Sometimes she paused, staring into space as if recalling distant events, then spoke in soft, fragmented phrases about places, symbols, and people she could barely remember. As the days passed, their bond grew stronger. Eli appreciated not only her abilities but her willingness to learn, adapt, and even make small mistakes. Luma, in turn, seemed to trust him more, offering subtle gestures of connection. A tilt of the head, a soft hum of recognition, or the careful way she placed objects near him. One night, as the artificial sun set over Zypherin, Eli sat at his workbench, studying the Crest under a magnifying lens. Luma stood nearby, quietly observing him. "Master, I feel I am remembering more," she said. "Fragments like pieces of a story waiting to be told." Eli smiled. "And we'll discover that story together, piece by piece." Luma's eyes glimmered. "Yes, together." In that quiet apartment, surrounded by tools, circuits, and scattered notes, Eli realized something profound. Luma was not just a machine or a puzzle. She was a companion, a mystery, and perhaps a bridge to something much larger than either of them could imagine. And for Eli, the thrill of discovery was just beginning. He knew the days ahead would be full of challenges, revelations, and perhaps even wonder beyond anything he had ever dreamed. For now, though, he was content to watch Luma move quietly around the room, perfecting her routines and slowly unlocking the secrets hidden deep within her circuits. Every small success felt like a step closer to uncovering a truth that could change not only their lives, but perhaps the understanding of an entire galaxy. Eli leaned back in his chair, looking at Luma with a mix of admiration and excitement. The malfunctioning, alien Maid had already transformed his world in ways he could never have predicted. And as the night deepened over the glowing city, he felt certain of one thing. This was only the beginning of a story far greater than he had ever imagined. The morning on Zypherin began like any other, with the soft hum of machines and distant chatter echoing through the city. "Streets." Eli sipped his morning drink, glancing at Luma as she carefully arranged the tools and components on the workbench. Her movements were precise now, almost graceful, though a faint stiffness remained, a reminder that she was not fully human. "Good morning, Master," she said softly, her silver eyes reflecting the golden light from the window. "I have been practicing." Eli smiled. "I can see that. You've improved so much already, but today I think we might uncover something more about you." Luma tilted her head, curiosity mixed with hesitation in her gaze. "About me? I do not understand. What more is there?" Eli reached for a small panel he had been working on overnight. It was a new scanner, more advanced than the last, capable of mapping internal circuits, memory sequences, and even latent protocols. "We're going to take a closer look at your systems. I think we might find something hidden." She paused, a faint hum escaping her circuits. "Hidden, I am ready if you guide me." Eli connected the scanner to her wrist, where the faintly glowing emblem rested. The device hummed softly, sending a stream of holographic data into the air. Lines, symbols, and patterns danced before Eli's eyes, far more complex than he had anticipated. Some were clearly programming code, others were patterns of energy flow, and a few seemed almost organic, like memory woven into circuits. "Luma, this is incredible," he whispered. "You're not just a domestic assistant. You've got something far beyond what anyone expected. Some of this looks like memory storage, like it's keeping secrets." She blinked slowly, her voice soft. "Yes, Master, fragments of memory locked until safe companion found." Eli's heart raced. The crest on her wrist pulsed faintly, reacting to the scanner. He leaned closer. "Luma, can you try to focus? Think about anything from before you were sold." Her eyes flickered, and for a moment her voice carried a strange resonance, as if recalling something distant. "I was created to protect, to observe, to serve, but not as a servant, something greater." Eli's mind reeled. He had expected quirks, intelligence, maybe hidden functions, but not this. Something inside her was waking up, something important, something designed long ago. "Greater?" he asked gently. "What do you mean?" She paused, as if reaching into her memory. "I am part of lineage, important, heritage, lost, hidden. My crest signifies." Her words trailed off, and a soft glow emanated from the emblem. Eli's pulse quickened. He had seen enough to realize this was no ordinary machine. He needed more answers, but the data alone was not enough. They needed context. "I think we need to visit the archives again," he said. "But this time we'll go deeper, somewhere we can access historical records and cultural data from multiple civilizations." Luma nodded. "Yes, Master, I trust you. I want to know." The trip to the deeper archives took them to a section of the library rarely used by visitors. Massive halls stretched above them, filled with holographic archives from hundreds of civilizations, some extinct, others thriving in distant star systems. Eli guided Luma to a terminal designed for advanced research. He scanned her crest, enhancing the holographic image. Slowly, patterns began to match fragments in the database, symbols from the long-lost Scifian civilization. The Scifians were once a proud and peaceful species, known for their wisdom, advanced technology, and cultural achievements. They had vanished centuries ago under mysterious circumstances. Luma's eyes glowed faintly as the holographic patterns shifted. "Serafians," she whispered. "I remember fragments of my purpose connected to them. I was created to protect, to serve, as guardian." Eli stared in awe. "A guardian? You could be the last connection to an entire civilization." She nodded slowly. "Yes, memory locked until trusted companion could help unlock truth." Eli's mind raced. The malfunctioning behavior, the hidden crest, the advanced abilities, all of it was part of a design to conceal her true identity until the right person found her. And somehow she had chosen him. Back in his apartment, Eli worked tirelessly, running simulations and tests to help Luma access her memories. They sorted data, solved complex logic puzzles, and decoded energy flow patterns together. Each success caused the crest to glow more brightly, and with every glow, fragments of her past returned. One evening, as the artificial sun set over Zypherin, Luma paused and looked at Eli. "Master, I remember a place, a palace grand filled with light people important. They depended on me. I must protect them." Eli leaned forward. "A palace, people. Luma, this sounds like royalty, like a royal family. Could the crest indicate that you belong to them?" She looked down at her wrist. "Yes, Master, it signifies heritage, lineage, lost, hidden, until safe companion found." Eli felt a mixture of excitement and responsibility. If Luma was truly connected to a lost royal lineage, it could change not only her life but the understanding of history itself. Yet, he also knew that such knowledge carried weight. It was delicate, fragile, and needed to be handled carefully. Over the next few days, Eli and Luma focused on unlocking more memories. Luma began recalling small details, ceremonies, symbols, and lessons she had once taught to the royal heirs. She spoke of wisdom, diplomacy, and the importance of protecting knowledge and culture. Though fragmented, her recollections painted a vivid picture of her past role. Eli marveled at her clarity and dedication. "You were meant for something extraordinary, Luma, and now we have the chance to discover it together." She looked at him, her eyes glowing softly. "Yes, Master, together, we will find truth and protect what is lost." One night, Eli noticed Luma behaving differently. She moved to a corner of the room, her hand hovering over the crest, and spoke softly, almost as if chanting. "Memory, unlock, reveal, purpose." The glow from the emblem intensified, filling the room with a gentle light. Suddenly, a series of images flashed before Eli's eyes. He saw Luma as she must have been in her original form, tall, elegant, and regal. He saw a palace, grand halls filled with light, and beings that moved with grace and purpose. He saw her interacting with them, guiding, teaching, and protecting. When the light faded, Luma looked at him, her voice trembling with emotion. Master, I remember. More I am, guardian of legacy of knowledge. I must fulfill purpose. Eli sat back, awed. The revelation was staggering. Luma was no ordinary machine. She was a living repository of a lost civilization, entrusted with its wisdom and heritage. And somehow she had survived centuries, hidden in plain sight. Luma, this is incredible, he said softly. You've carried an entire civilization's legacy inside you all this time. She nodded slowly. Yes, Master, and now you help me understand, unlock, fulfill destiny. Eli realized the depth of their bond. He was not just a caretaker or a friend. He was a partner in discovering history, in unlocking the story of a lost people, and in helping Luma reclaim her true purpose. As the days turned into weeks, Eli and Luma worked tirelessly. Each memory unlocked brought new challenges, new understanding, and a growing sense of wonder. She began to integrate her regained knowledge with human technology, showing ways to optimize energy, predict patterns, and solve problems that Eli had never imagined. Neighbors occasionally noticed the faint glow from their apartment or the strange humming sounds from Luma's circuits, but no one could guess the magnitude of what was happening inside. Eli and Luma were not just tinkering, they were rediscovering a civilization, one memory at a time. One evening, Eli asked, Luma, do you think the rest of the galaxy knows about your heritage? She shook her head gently. No, Master, lost, hidden, forgotten centuries, only now beginning to awaken. Eli smiled, determination in his eyes. Then we'll do it carefully, step by step. First we understand, then perhaps we share. Luma reached for his hand, her small, delicate fingers brushing against his. Yes, Master, together, we will reveal truth, protect, legacy. That night, as the city lights shimmered across the dome and the quiet hum of machinery filled the apartment, Eli felt a sense of purpose unlike any he had known. Luma's awakening was not just a discovery. It was a journey, a responsibility, and a privilege. And somewhere deep within her circuits, the hidden crest pulsed steadily, a reminder of the past, a guide for the present, and a promise for the future. For Eli and Luma, the story of the lost Scifian heritage was only beginning. The mysteries they would uncover, the knowledge they would preserve, and the adventures that awaited them were beyond imagination. And as they sat together, surrounded by scattered tools and glowing holograms, Eli knew one thing clearly. The world, and perhaps the galaxy, was about to see humanity and the last Scifian guardian working side by side. The next morning, Zyphron's markets were alive with chatter. The hum of hovering vehicles, and the occasional blaring call of street vendors. Eli moved carefully through the streets, Luma beside him. Though she had regained fragments of her memory, the world outside still fascinated her. She paused frequently, watching people and machines interact, as if studying patterns in human life that she had never seen before. Master, the city, it is different from my memories, Luma said softly, tilting her head. Lights, moving beings, energy everywhere, Eli smiled. Yes, it's always been like that, busy, noisy, chaotic, but full of life. And sometimes you can find the most interesting things if you pay attention. Luma nodded, her silver eyes reflecting the sun. I want to understand humans, their ways, their thinking. Eli felt a small warmth inside him. Helping her discover herself while showing her humanity was a responsibility he had never imagined, but it was one he gladly accepted. Then let's start with something simple. Observing, learning, and understanding. You can compare it with what you remember from the Scifians. You might see patterns. They spent the morning walking through the marketplace, interacting with merchants, examining technology, and observing people. Luma asked questions constantly. Why humans organized their stalls a certain way, why they negotiated instead of using energy protocols, and why their machines were designed with imperfections. It seems humans are adaptable, she said finally after hours of observation. Mistakes, changes, learning, everything evolves. Eli laughed. Exactly, that's why humans are special. We take what we have, change it, improve it, or even create something entirely new. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we learn. Luma paused, considering this. I understand a little, Master. Humans survive because adaptable, intelligent, creative, he nodded. And that's why I think you and I together we can do something incredible. After lunch, Eli led Luma to the city's diplomatic archives. He had heard rumors that remnants of Scifian knowledge had been stored there, texts, holograms, and cultural records. Most people ignored them, thinking they were irrelevant. But for someone like Luma, this could unlock memories and knowledge far beyond her internal systems. Inside the archives, towering data columns glowed softly, each containing holographic records from countless worlds. Eli connected Luma to one of the terminals, scanning her crest while cross-referencing it with archived Serafian texts. Patterns began to align. Symbols, teachings, and energy flow diagrams all matched fragments within Luma's memory. Her eyes widened. I recognize these symbols, lessons, protocols, ceremonies. I remember teaching, guiding, protecting. Eli leaned closer. You were a teacher, a guide, and a protector. You were meant to preserve knowledge and help others understand it. Yes, Master, knowledge must be preserved, shared wisely. Luma's voice was steady, but there was a hint of awe. I must fulfill purpose. Eli studied the holograms carefully. Many of them showed peaceful Serafian communities interacting with other worlds, mediating conflicts, sharing technology, and guiding civilizations toward harmony. They had been respected for intelligence and wisdom, not for power or conquest. You weren't just royalty, Eli said softly. You were a guardian of wisdom, a guide for civilizations. That's incredible. Luma nodded, her glow brightening slightly. Yes, Master, and now humans can assist in understanding, applying, sharing. Eli's mind raced. If they could help Luma restore more of her memories and knowledge, they might be able to reconnect humanity with the wisdom of a lost civilization. But there was also risk. Others might not understand her purpose and could misinterpret it. Diplomacy would be required. Over the next few days, they began sending careful queries to other systems, learning about nearby civilizations that had historical connections with the Serafians. Luma guided Eli in analyzing patterns, interpreting symbols, and understanding the intentions behind ancient communications. With each step, she demonstrated a mix of Serafian wisdom and her own evolving understanding of humans. One evening, Eli noticed her pausing near a holographic display of interstellar maps. Master, there are worlds that might not understand my presence or purpose, could cause confusion. Eli nodded. We'll approach carefully. We don't need to announce anything until we are sure it's safe. Knowledge can be shared gently, step by step. The next day, Eli helped Luma send a controlled communication to a nearby neutral planet, sharing fragments of knowledge and offering guidance. He watched in amazement as Luma interpreted their responses in real time, predicting misunderstandings and offering corrections before confusion could arise. You're incredible, he said quietly. I never imagined a household assistant could do this. Luma tilted her head, a faint glow in her crest pulsing rhythmically. I am more than servant, I am guardian, teacher, protector. With master help, can reach many worlds. Eli realized the truth. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy, clever, creative, persistent. But this partnership with Luma showcased exactly what humans could achieve. Together, they were not just surviving, they were shaping understanding across worlds. As the days progressed, word began to reach curious factions. Some were intrigued, others cautious. Eli guided Luma carefully, ensuring that every interaction emphasized cooperation, learning, and peace. She began giving small lectures on Serafian culture, energy systems, and problem-solving methods, all while maintaining discretion about her full identity. Luma's interactions revealed her growing understanding of humans. They think differently, emotional, creative, unpredictable, yet adaptable, brilliant, capable. She paused, almost as if analyzing herself. Humans can achieve much with guidance, support, partnership. Eli smiled. Exactly, and that's why we work together. You bring wisdom and knowledge, I bring creativity and problem-solving. Together, we can make the galaxy a better place. One day, they received a response from a distant civilization that had traded with the Serafians centuries ago. The hologram displayed patterns of greetings, symbols of respect, and energy signals that conveyed curiosity. Luma decoded it instantly, adjusting their response to be respectful and inviting. Master, see this. Humans and Serafians can cooperate, achieve understanding. Eli's heart swelled. He realized that their work was already having an impact. It was not about dominance, war, or control. It was about knowledge, cooperation, and the strength of ingenuity. Over the following weeks, Eli and Luma continued building networks of understanding. They guided other civilizations through simple challenges, using Scifi wisdom combined with human creativity to solve problems. Trade disputes were clarified, energy networks optimized, and cultural misunderstandings resolved. Luma's hidden memory became more active each day, revealing not only her own heritage but the methods to preserve it responsibly. One evening, as they returned to their apartment after a long day, Luma paused on the balcony, watching the glow of Zypheron's cityscape. Master, I see humans can accomplish so much with patience, understanding, learning. I am proud to work with you. Eli felt a warmth he could not describe. And I'm proud to work with you, Luma. You're teaching me just as much as I'm helping you. And together we're proving what humans and wisdom can do. Luma turned to him, her crest glowing softly. Yes, Master, together we protect, share, guide, inspire. That night, as they reviewed the day's interactions, Eli reflected on everything they had accomplished. A malfunctioning household assistant had transformed into a bridge between worlds, and he, an ordinary human with curiosity and patience, was her partner in this extraordinary mission. The galaxy had underestimated humans before, but here they were, showing that creativity, intelligence, and empathy could solve challenges that brute force never could. In the quiet of the apartment, Luma powered down slightly, resting after a long day of activity. Eli watched her, marveling at the soft glow of her crest, now steady and calm. Somewhere deep within, centuries of wisdom were slowly integrating with the understanding of the present. He knew that the coming days would bring more discoveries, more interactions, and perhaps challenges he could not yet imagine. But for now, they had taken the first steps toward something remarkable, a galaxy that could see humans and the last Seraphim guardian working together, not through violence or dominance, but through knowledge, creativity, and cooperation. And as he turned off the lights, Eli felt certain of one thing. The story they were living was not only about Luma's awakening or her hidden heritage. It was about the power of partnership, human ingenuity, and the way patience and curiosity could shape the future. The crest on Luma's wrist pulsed faintly in the darkness, a quiet reminder of the past, a guide for the present, and a beacon for the future. And Eli knew without a doubt that their journey was only beginning.